Bookish friends. In this top 5 video, I'm going to continue with a series that I've started before. Top 5 more books that I want to read because I have seen their adaptations. I have mentioned in my previous video that I had more books that I could talk about, and I have asked if you would like to see which books that I would want to read because I have seen their adaptation. I had some comments from my lovely friends saying that they really like this adaptation series and would like to see more of that kind of videos. Since I had many books and series that I had written down because I have seen their adaptations and really liked them, I thought of doing this video. I will do another one about the book series that I want to start because I have seen their adaptations. But in this video I'm going to talk about standalone books again. So let's see which books I have seen their adaptations and really liked. In the 5th place I have a middle grade book, Enchanted by Gail, Carson, Levine. This book was a Newbery Honor book and it was written in 1997. The story is a retelling of Cinderella featuring various mythical creatures including fairies, elves, ogres, gnomes and giants. Ella of Ferrell is given at birth the gift of obedience by Lucinda the fairy. She is now forced to follow through with every command she is told. And Ella Enchanted was adapted into a 2004 fantastic romantic comedy movie, and it was co-produced by United States, Ireland and the United Kingdom. This adaptation is loosely based on the novel and directed by Tom Weir, written by Karen Lutz and Kirsten Smith, and it stars Anne Hathaway and Hugh Dancy. I have really enjoyed this adaptation. I found this retelling to be a fresh retake on the classic story, and also I have seen many of my friends raving about this book, so that's why this book is in the 5th place in this list. In the 4th place we have a classical mystery, 39 Steps by John Buchan. It is an adventure novel by the Scottish author. It first appeared as a serial in Blackwood's magazine in August and September 1915 before being published in book form in October of that year. It is the first of the 5 novels featuring Richard Hannay, an all-action hero with a stiff upper lip and a miraculous knack for getting himself out of sticky situations. In 2003, this book was listed on the BBC's Big Red Poll of the UK's best-loved novels. The novel is set during May and June of 1914. War was impending in Europe, and Richard Hannay returns to his new home after living in Rhodesia to begin a new life, but one night he encounters a man who appears to know of an anarchist plot to destabilize Europe. The novel then formed the basis for a number of successful adaptations, including several movie versions and a long-running stage play, which is surprisingly a very good comedy. I have seen a Turkish version of that play and it was hilarious, but the adaptation that I have seen, which is more closer to the novel, is the 1935 adaptation, British thriller movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock. And it starred Robert Donat and Madeleine Carroll. The movie is actually loosely based on the novel, but I'm sure it's a more faithful adaptation than the stage play. Anyway, as a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock, and since this book is really short, I really want to read this classic mystery novel. In the third place, we have Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. The book was published by HarperCollins in 2003. The book takes place in 1954. Widower U.S. Marshal Edward Teddy Daniels and his new partner, Chuck Owell, go on a ferry boat to Shutter Island, the home of Ashcliffe Hospital for the Criminally Insane, to investigate the disappearance of a patient, Rachel Solando, and the adventure starts when they get to the island. This book was adapted into a thriller movie in February 2010. It was directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Leoto Kalagritis. The movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley, and Michelle Williams. The movie received positive reviews from the critics, and it was chosen by the National Board of Review as one of the top 10 films of 2010. I remember really enjoying this thriller movie, and it had a plot twist which is very surprising. I'm actually a bit worried about reading this book, but I really want to read it because I have really enjoyed the atmosphere of the movie, and I'm sure the book does the atmosphere much better. I remember the plot twist, but maybe this will enhance my reading experience. I don't really know. Maybe I will pick on the clues while reading the book. I think reading Shutter Island will be a very different experience for me. The book in the second place is Remains of the Day by British author Kazuo Ishiguro. The book was written in 1989, and the protagonist, Stevens, is a butler with a long record of service at Darlington Hall, a stately home near Oxford, England. In 1956, he takes a road trip to visit a former colleague and reminiscence about the events at Darlington Hall in the 20s and in 30s. This book received the Man Booker Prize for fiction in 1989. I have seen the movie adaptation of this novel, and that movie was produced in 1993. The movie was directed by James Ivory, produced by Ismail Merkant, Mike Nichols and John Kelly, and the book was adapted into a screenplay by Ruth Praver Jahwala. It stars Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson, James Fox, Christopher Reeve and Hugh Grant. It was nominated for 8 Academy Awards that year. I remember enjoying the movie very much because of its wonderful cast. But aside from acting, the book had a plot and a time period which I enjoy very much. As I've mentioned many times in my videos, I'm a big fan of the period between 1920s and 1930s, between two world wars. It's such a different time period because it goes from extreme luxury to extreme poverty, and it's really interesting to see the social and economic dynamics of that period. And I've always wanted to read a novel from Kazuo Ishiguro, so that's why this book is in the second place in my list. First place in this list goes to The Martian by Andy Weir. It is a 2011 science fiction novel. It was his debut novel, and it was originally self-published. Then Crown Publishing purchased the rights and re-released it in 2014. The story follows an American astronaut, Mark Watney, as he becomes stranded alone in Mars in 2035 and must improvise in order to survive. The Martian was made into a very famous movie, a science fiction survival movie directed by Ridley Scott, and it starred Matt Damon in 2015. The movie also stars Jessica Chastain, Jeff Daniels, Kristen Wiig, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Sean Bean. The movie was produced through 20th Century Fox, and it was nominated for 7 Academy Awards that year. I remember loving the movie, and I also heard that the book has a bit which is also present in the movie, and many of my friends whom I trust their taste recommended this book to me so many times. That's why The Martian by Andy Weir takes the first place in this second list. So those were top 5 more books that I want to read because of their adaptation. Please comment down below, have you read any of the books that I've mentioned? And if you're a new viewer, please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. As for Turkish Word of the Day, since The Martian is the book that I want to read most in this list, and The Martian has a bit, I'm going to make a twist here and choose Mars as the word of the day. Mars means Mars in Turkish, and Mars is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day!